In this video, we're going to be looking at the 9 things that I recommend you do to the Team Associated MT8 when you first purchase it, maybe before you ever even drive it. If you're new, welcome. The channel's Roadside RC and my name is Troy. What you'll tend to find on the channel is drifting and bashing and crawling and racing, plus product review videos and how-tos. On the bench is the Team Associated MT8. Honestly, I've really enjoyed this truck. It has been fun, 6S capable, smaller 8 scale basher, crazy big jumps, does the backflips, does all the stuff. We've taken it bashing, we've had it at the racetrack, we've done all sorts of stuff with this. And what I've come up with is a list of 9 things that I think you should check if you're buying this truck, just to make sure that it's in good condition and everything's ready to run before you drive it. Now let me be clear, every time I do one of these videos, someone comes through and says, oh, well, if I have to do those things, I'm just not even gonna buy it. That's not what this video is all about. I do highly recommend, and for certain folks, that this truck is a good deal, right? It's fun to bash, it's a good price point, all of these kind of things are good. Parts availability is out there. And so if you want this truck, go for it. These are just some items not to deter you from buying it, but just things for you to look out for. Item number 1 is that the ESC from the factory comes with a single Dean's connector on it. And that is, honest, I truly believe, not appropriate for running a 6S setup. So the first thing that I did was I actually soldered in XT90s, which are my go-to plug, and I actually installed 2 of them so that I could run 2 3S batteries. With the single plug in there, you will be stuck to a single 4S or a single 6S. I have made it this way to where I can actually run a single or dual packs if I wanted to run 6S in that way. If you need help soldering on different plugs, I have a whole video for that I will include down below. And we're gonna stay right here for item number 2, and that's these battery straps and the battery box. I did a whole video looking at what fits and what does not fit in this truck. Again, I can provide that link down below. But basically, at the end of the day, single 4S, single 6S fits in here beautifully. If you try to get dual 3S packs in here, especially if they're in that maybe 4500 milliamp or larger, you will find that the battery straps are not long enough to go all the way around them. So you're going to need to get some slightly longer battery straps. The other thing that I suggest is that this wall that's around the whole battery box is very nice, but a lot of the times your battery plugs will want to come out through it. So maybe if you have a specific set of batteries that you're going to be running for this truck, you might want to notch in where those battery wires go just to provide some clearance and make sure you're not really pulling on those wires too hard. Moving forward just a little bit, item number 3 is all about this Servo Saver. So from the factory, my Servo Saver was backed all the way off, and that meant the steering was actually very, very poor. All I did was come in here with a set of pliers and grip this and turn it clockwise in order to tighten up the Servo Saver some. That helped a lot in how the steering of this truck performed. Item number 4 is the rear camber. My truck came with the tires actually cambered out slightly, which is typically not what you would want for any kind of performance. So good news, it is adjustable here. All you got to do is take yourself a 6mm wrench and turn it clockwise towards the direction of the notch. Maybe three or four turns on it, and it brought it into just a little bit in. Just a simple thing. It should also make this whole connection stronger. While we're out here at the corner, we have items number 5 and 6. 5 is venting the tires. These tires do not come vented from the factory. I ran it, I immediately got it wet, and you could see that water just trying to really balloon in on these tires. These tires do balloon up a fair amount. They are non-belted, so I'd really really be very nervous if I got any moisture in there and I was running 6S. I'd be nervous that I would tear these tires. So I typically use a drill with a pipe on it in order to come in and actually create a clean circle. I'll provide a video down below as to how I do that, but I did that to all 4 tires to make sure any water that does happen to get in there has a way to get out. Item number 6 while we're here is these wheel nuts. If you saw the first drive unboxing video that I have, this truck does come with a cap that has a little AE logo on it. It kind of looks nice, but it's super duper frustrating and annoying to get it off. But what I found is that once I got those off, all of my wheels were loose, actually. Like every single one of them needed about a half turn or so on this wheel nut. You don't want to strip out your wheels, so before you ever get driving, come in, tighten up those wheel nuts. Item number 7 is all around this body. It's kind of funny. Take it or leave it. We've had some people that have been really kind of excited and like the looks of the body. Other folks that are just kind of like, what the heck were they thinking with this body? But as with any RC, you're going to want to do a couple things in order to extend the life of your body. One of the things I immediately ended up doing was putting tape in around the body, mounting holes and all that in order to strengthen that up. The other thing that I'm going to suggest that you do is as you bash, this bumper flexes and the body actually gets hung out here on top of these light buckets. So you have to make a choice. Do you want the light buckets to go away or do you want to trim the front of the body? What I am planning on doing is coming in here and actually trimming all the way up to just below this plastic molded in grill right here, and then that way as everything flexes, it's not going to get caught on there. Honestly, the truck looks a little silly when this gets caught up there. It looks like the whole front's jacked up. It looks like it's sitting like this. It looks like it's like that because the whole front of the truck is pulled up so much as it's stuck on there. So you're going to end up taping the body to help with durability, but then also you're going to want to probably trim that front nose. Item number 8 surprised me a little bit in this receiver box. The receiver itself was actually free floating. It was not mounted. It had no tape on it, no nothing. It was actually just kind of in the box. So I would suggest taking it out of there, some double-sided tape, and it goes right back in, and then it's nice and secure, and you're not going to have that piece of electronics bouncing around in your truck. The last one here is the biggest. This is number 9, and it is these upper control arms. So if you watched the unboxing and first drive video that I've produced, what you'll notice, what I tell in that video is the whole rear and front of these trucks shares a lot of parts with the Red Cat Kaiju EXT. And over the driving that we've done and the abuse that we have given this truck so far, this upper control arm on each side, on the rear only, has broken 3 times. All right, literally we've snapped this metal. It's not snapping the plastic. Just like the Kaiju EXT, it's the metal that's the issue, not the plastic. So there's maybe three fixes for this. First is Red Cat's already identified the problem and they already fixed the problem. And so you can actually purchase the upgraded rear control arms from Red Cat. I'll provide you a link to those down below. I have a set of them on order already. So that's step number 1. Step number 2 is to get some of the Lunsford titanium turnbuckles. I've typically had pretty good luck with those. Step number 3 is partially, the other part is helping to address the whole root cause of the problem, which is when this suspension compresses, it's not actually the shock that is the limiting factor in the whole system. It's actually this control arm when this suspension compresses up all the way. And you end up binding up the drive shaft. This whole rear corner kind of is an issue, if I'm honest. So what I've done, I've yet to do it to this truck, I'm about to do it to this truck, is I came in here and I just put a little bump stop down there in the bottom. Many vehicles actually do have bump stops down there from the factory. You could either pick up some from another vehicle that has them, or what I'm going to do on here is some like 7/16 inch fuel tubing for a full-size 1/1 size car. And I'm just gonna take this rod end off and I'm gonna slide that on. And what that does is that helps provide cushion a little bit because it's rubber, so it dampens a little bit as that force comes in, and then also makes that shock actually end up being the limiting factor instead of the rod end and the drive shaft. Only needs about a 10mm piece right down there at the bottom, and you are set. Now I'm going to give you a kind of a number 10, kind of a bonus item on this, which is your motor wires and ESC wires here. They keep coming out. There's a little holder for them down here. They're supposed to be tucked in underneath that, but guess what? They just keep coming out. So, and once they come out, it seems like they just want to keep coming out more and more. So put a zip tie around that down there, and maybe a zip tie up here to help hold that force so they don't come out. What makes me nervous is that this keeps flopping up, and I'm afraid it's going to get caught or something up here. I don't want it to move over and end up getting towards that drive shaft. So just stick a couple zip ties on there somewhere just to help hold these in. The little wire management that they have down here at the bottom just is not good enough. There it is. Those were my 9 with a bonus 10th items that I recommend you look at if you first get this Rival MT8 from Team Associated. Like I said, there's a couple videos. So there's that soldering video if you need help soldering, putting on plugs onto your ESC. If you want to look at the tire venting and some of those and the battery tray fitment, I will have a playlist to all the MT8 videos that I have over here. I also have a link directly to that soldering video, and so then that way you can catch that one very easily. I definitely recommend that if you do not know how to solder, if you've never done it. I tried to make a somewhat familiar, like a beginner's easy level into soldering all of the very common RC connectors out there. That's right here next to us. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you in that next video. Goodbye.